I was supposed to pause it in a few minutes. Welcome to the Vulcan Soapbox, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Today we're about to uncover and go over some requested topics. Um, I am your gracious host, Enos. I'm here with the gang, with the friends, with the esteemed colleagues. We're doing part two of the series of the seven laws of attraction, and I'm going to introduce my guest that's going to help uncover this topic with me. First, I'm going to start with CQ.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
All right, Derek, y'all just go around and introduce yourselves. Derek.
Hey, Derek Bain. How's everybody doing? Let's have a good show.
All right, Fresh.
I just want to do hood rat things with my friends.
All right, Vulcan.
How's everybody doing? I'm excited to go over these topics with y'all today. Like, subscribe if you haven't. We appreciate it. It's what helps us out. Share with your friends. If you want to be on the show, shoot us an inbox. Be active in the comments. We're here to tackle any questions y'all have and do the best we can. Let's get it.
Again, like I explained before, we did a couple of weeks ago. We started off with the Law of Attraction series. It was part one. Actually, it's 12 laws of attraction. We did the top seven, the most common. So we did up to, I think, one, two, three, and five. Here is some background noise, and we are starting off with we're going to do two of the last ones, and then we're going to add a couple more topics and delve into uh, break down the other two topics. I don't know if it seems like I'm lagging over here. All right, just let me know if y'all can hear me. If y'all can see me too. If not, just let me know.
It's all good.
All right. All right. Oh, all right. So the first law is the law of the right of action. I know y'all not able to see that right now. Can't even make the screen smaller. Y'all can see it?
I can see it, yeah.
All right, so it's the law of action. There are countless opportunities in our lives every day that allows us to bring in negative or positive energies into our lives. The law of right of action states that how to treat others and the world around you, you will get back into your life. Doing the right things each day. Do y'all agree or disagree with this?
Disagree. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we'll start with Derek. Derek, disagree. CQ, what's your thoughts? Agree or disagree?
I disagree. I disagree.
All right. Fresh?
This is vague. I couldn't tell you whether I agree or not. What is get you back into life? Or what is doing the right things each day? Is that what's that based on? What set of rules is that based on?
All right. All right. So you said agree or disagree? I didn't hear you.
I said I don't know.
You don't know? All right. Let's go to James. Vulcan. And I'm after Vulcan. We're gonna start with Derek. Y'all can explain. I'm gonna hop off like a few minutes. After James after Vulcan says he may agree or disagree, we're gonna go down from Derek, CQ, Fresh, and back to Vulcan as far as explaining why y'all agree or disagree. All right.
Yeah. So for me, I would disagree with this, even though there's as Freshly pointed out, it's vague. So the way it's worded, there's definitely some truth to it. But is it a law? That's my last to comment on that. So it's on. Derek, did you want to get into why?
Well, the biggest thing with me with these laws is I can't believe in a higher power and then see the law of right action. There was a whole lot of slaves that had some right action and they still didn't get any of these good things back in their life. They got death. And So for that to be a law in somebody's mind for your actions, it's not. There's nothing to support that. A law means Vulcan can do it and it's going to work. Enos can do it and it's going to work. CQ is going to do it and it's going to work, and so forth. That is definitely not a law,
All right, all
in
right.
my
Did we? All
humble opinion.
right. Did we hear from CQ?
Yeah. Um, I think we live in a world of like endless, opportunities. I mean, so many things can happen. I mean, I don't believe that if I just do right all the time, right's going to happen to me all the time. There's always going to be some ups, some downs, some lefts, some rights. I mean, yeah, and like kind of like Vulcan and Freshly said, it is a very vague statement, but from what I just reading from it, I just automatically would say like, well, just because I'm doing well in life and I'm doing right to others doesn't always mean that things are going to happen the way that I need them to.
All right. So let's get fresh in here and go on to Vulcan.
So I definitely agree with the general tone of everyone's conversation and saying like just because you do right all the time does not necessarily mean that right is always going to happen to you. I mean, there's plenty of examples uh, out there where quote unquote bad things happen to good people all the time. So uh, good is subjective, bad is subjective, and the law does mean, as the gentleman said earlier, it should theoretically work across the board, right? That's the pretty much how any scientific experiment goes. You can't create a law or say it's a fact until it works the same way for everybody based on the same parameters and variables set up. But I will say if the definition that you pulled this from, Enos, or wherever you pulled it from, if this is like the actual definition, like the people who follow this or who subscribe to this belief, if this is what they follow, then this it was designed to it was designed to be vague and trick people. I look at it like a horoscope, like it's general, it's true in general. In which case, I repeat, it can't be a law. Can't, it's not.
All right, all right. What you got for us, Vulcan?
Yeah, so I think these guys bring up some really good points. There is a vagueness to it, and a lot of this is subjective. And to speak to a little bit to what Freshly was saying, when you look at different sources on this topic, there's a lot of variation in people's definition of it. Why? Because it's not a real law. The law of gravity is standard across the board. Mathematical laws are standard across the board. China, Japan, Middle East gonna do math the same way because it applies the same way and everywhere you go. Logical laws, the law of non-contradiction, the law of identity, these logical laws, they apply across the board. So the definitions are very specific. But this law of right action, it's going to vary person to person. I've seen things that say, you have to put action to your thoughts and ideas, and we all would agree with that. But on that same document I was looking at, it said there's no right or wrong action. So in theory, I could do things against the action that I could do actions that are antithetical to what I'm trying to get accomplished, and according to this law, it's still permissible. So I think that's part of the problem is you really can't define. We got to just strip the whole word law out of this whole thing. That's the main takeaway. This law, the word law is a marketing ploy, and those of us in business and in sales, we get it.
I'm sorry, I didn't even know I was muted. So yeah, is there scientific support? Let's start with Derek.
No, the only if there were any scientific support, it would be that friend of yours who went and gave a homeless person $1 and then walked into the grocery store and won $10 on the lottery scratch off. See, I did right and right came back. That's going to be your only scientific support.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
let me speak to that real quick too. I mean, there's so many examples of this not being the case. You think about the good guys finish last, right? And then you can even some people will say, well, it's not really a good guy because he has ulterior motives. He's not really being good for the sake of being good. He's being good to get something out of it, and he's being dishonest about his intention. So that's what we say for adult men. Okay, fine. Let's go back to elementary school before we were really thinking about intercourse and stuff like that, right? When you just saw a pretty girl and you wanted to be around her. Did the nice guys finish last then? So my point is saying that we have one of our strongest desires is to procreate. You can't get any more innocent than that. It's in our DNA to want to do that. And so that being the case, why are the guys in one of the most important aspects of our humanity struggling the most that are being the best? You got anybody watched Happy Days? You got the Fonz, and then you got Richie, who got the ladies. The guy who was doing what his parents said, being a good kid, or the guy who was with the leather jacket, or rebelling against cultural mores.
Bad boy.
Yeah, but good and right is subjective, so it depends on the individual, right? So what if Richie found the girl he married, which he eventually did find the girl for him. Now he wasn't getting all the ladies, but what if he didn't want all the ladies, right? Does that mean
Well,
that him obeying his parents, him doing the right thing, does that mean he succeeded, or the opposite? If the Fonz, does he see success as getting all the girls, having everyone think he's cool? What if that's not the
well,
definition of success to
well,
everybody?
well. My only
So I
thing
think we
about
got to
what you're
set a baseline.
my only thing about what you're saying is okay. That's more like stepping away from the frame and looking big picture. Does he want all the girls? But I'm just saying, as Richie's walking around his daily life at school, oh, I like her. I would like to have her. He's not thinking all the girls at that moment. He's thinking I like her. But him getting her versus the bad guy getting her, what are the odds? So my point is saying that whether he's thinking all or some or one or whatever in the moment in his day-to-day practical life, we see all the time that the good guy, the guy who's doing the good thing, who's obeying the laws, who's not considered to be the biggest risk taker in the world, that's boring.
It is what
And I think
when is
real quickly,
Fonzie depicted as the bad guy
sorry,
in Happy
sorry,
Days?
last thing I want to say is that the reason why I'm bringing this point up again is because reproduction and coupling is one of the most important things in humanity. If this law doesn't work there, why would we trust it anywhere else? Sorry, go ahead. What you were saying? What were you saying again, Freshly?
I was just asking at what point in time was the Fonz depicted as the bad guy in
Hey,
Happy Days? He's a hero.
yeah, he was a hero at times too, but he was a rebel.
Yeah, he was painted as the righteous rebel though. He defended the weak, the picked on. He had a certain set of morals and standards that he lived by. He just rode a motorcycle and wore a leather jacket.
Look. I'm not over here doing any
And he
kind of
could
fun.
fight.
Well, I'm not doing any kind of fawn slander. When he went over the sharks and with the boat and all that stuff and the skis, hey, I was
Hey,
I was the biggest fan. I know a lot of black folks are like, y'all, you watched Happy Days? But yeah, yes, I watched Happy
black
Days.
folks watch Happy Days. They need to stop that. Whatever
Anyway,
black folks you looking at, they're too black.
Yeah, so yeah, but going back to we got some comments here,
Fellas, what up? Let's get to the payments. Can y'all hear me fine? And tired
Yes,
of
sir.
hearing the fines. What else we got? Shout out to Help the Bear. Punish used to to be the fines.
Facts. That's a good parallel.
Punish you use. Okay. All right. Anybody want to add into what Fresh and Vulcan is speaking on? CQ? Derek?
No.
Yeah, we don't have to get into the fines thing. We can find a different bad guy. We can do Screech versus Zach on Saved by the Bell,
Oh, we got some.
however you want to take it.
All right. For the comments, I
No,
see y'all
Jack was the
Captain
bad
Fest.
guy.
I see y'all Captain Fest. I see y'all. This is in a private chat. If y'all don't mind. All right. So, all right. What about, all right. The first one was scientific proof. The next one I'm going to go with. What about biblical proof? Does it align with the Bible? Start with Derek.
No, not at all.
Hmm. Why?
Well, I know someone can reach and make it sound like the Bible supports it, because they could say, well, if you live right and you trust God and you follow His laws, you get to go to heaven. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's a whole lot deeper than that, because you aren't doing anything when given a gift. When a gift is given to you, you're not having to do anything. So I don't think there's going to be anything in the Bible that supports if you do right, right's going to happen. Talk to Job for a little bit.
Mm.
Let me read something for you.
All right, let's get it together now.
Get it together. Let me get it together now. It's all first verse.
First
Have you
verse.
considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil? Now I use that because colloquially it's a biblical story.
Fresh, you gotta check that
And I'll
service,
be a
man.
little bit with
Hey,
Job.
hey, Fresh,
Job got his tail
that
whooped.
that dial up is dialing.
Hey, don't disrespect
Yeah.
my Wi-Fi.
Oh, yeah, unmuted himself. All right, we got comments. Let me read some of the comments. Comments, guys. Mr.
You got
Watts
some reading
said,
to do today, boy.
yeah, Mr. Watts said, I think the law of attraction and the right both serve as great motivation to get people to actually do something. Belief inspires action, but agreed, they aren't real laws of the universe as depicted. What do you mean by real laws of the universe? You gotta buy most. All right, Fresh. I know your service was going out.
How about now?
Dudes.
Is it better?
Oh yeah, that's better. Well, we'll
All right.
know. It's probably gonna go out. It's good
You
now.
said what?
It's good now. But
Okay.
it's good. All right.
I think the opposite of what Mr. Watt said. To be honest with you, I think that's the biggest problem with this quote unquote law is that it doesn't inspire action. It inspires people to believe that they can just sit on their couch and think positive thoughts and good things will come to them. Because to be honest with
Yeah.
you, there's no you don't need a law to say if you get out and work hard to achieve your goals and you don't give up, that most likely your goals will be achieved.
Yeah. Yeah. Positive thoughts is definitely it oversimplifies complex decisions. That's the dangers of
Oversimplifies
this.
is the perfect characterization of that law.
Oversim.
It
Oh,
says if you think positive, positive things will happen to you. I
that's it.
It,
I think it appeals to lazy people. If I'm being 100,
the thing I
Yeah.
would say is that
it appeals to lazy.
I think where people mix it up at, it almost sounds like karma, the law, this so-called law, and I think that it where they would mix it up, where maybe it might, like to Derek was saying, where they might think it alludes to the Bible, is the whole you reap what you sow, but reaping what you sow is not karma.
Hmm.
Reaping what you sow is just simply put. If I plant 10 plants, then 10 plants are going to grow. But that doesn't necessarily mean that one of them isn't gonna die. You see what I'm saying? So it contradicts in that sense of like, just because you plant the 10 plants doesn't mean that all 10 plants are gonna grow. Because karma would say, like, if I plant these plants and I plant them really good and I do well by them, they're all gonna, live. But that might not be the case. We might get a crazy weather storm out of nowhere that we didn't know about, and boom, there go 5 of them gone. So I think that's like, what I would believe is that that's why it doesn't really line up with the Bible, because it's almost like they're trying to confuse it with like reaping what you sow, and that's not necessarily what reaping what you sow means.
Want to speak to that, Vulcan?
I agree. I mean, I thought of another analogy that I was going to use, like just growing up in dominant black culture. A lot of times doing the right thing gets you labeled negatively. A lot of people have to deal with hazing over doing the right thing. So I just think, if especially, I can't speak for other cultures. I've never really been a part of those, but I can say as a black person in black culture, people will say, I remember one thing they used to say, "You're always trying to save somebody." Because I would try to
remember that.
I would try to stand up for, yeah, you remember that. I'll try to stand up for the little guy. The guys didn't have the money to get the cool clothes and stuff like that. So they were picked on. And if you try to stand up for them, I'll be like, man, he ain't that bad. I'm one black guy got offered a scholarship to Yale or Harvard. And one of the guys, but he hung out with the soccer players, hung out with the white kids and stuff like that, and they were like, he ain't black. So I remember I walked in, I said, hey, y'all, we got a black guy going to Yale or Harvard. It was like, he ain't black. I'm over here trying to explain, like, what do you mean he's not black? The dude's black, just as black as us. And they're like, here you go again. So a lot of people that try to do the right thing, at least in the black context, you get hazed for that. You lose cool points for that. If somebody's trying to fight you.
Hey, was he made fun of for being not black because of the Harvard acceptance, or because of who he was as a person?
No, I'm saying I was hazed for trying to defend him. I don't know what his experience was.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying I was hazed, and numerous times that's been the case. I had another example I was going to say just a moment ago, but there's just so many circumstances of people being treated badly because they're trying to do the right thing. I'll give an example, like, anybody that's been antagonized into a fight. You might be trying to be a peacemaker because you can clearly see there's a misunderstanding. And he said something about your mama. Now, you didn't say nothing about that dude's mama. You didn't say nothing about that dude's mama. You don't know his mama. You might even admire the guy because he's good at something, And now somebody's always saying about your mama. Now you're stuck in this antagonistic situation where you got to fight somebody. You're trying to do the right thing by like, hey, look, no, there's a misunderstanding. I never said anything like that. And the more you talk, the weaker you look. And now you don't just got one bully, you got 5 bullies now.
Just whoop them all. Problem solved. Come on, clowns.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I think this right here is just demonstrably false for those of us who grew up in certain type of environments. Goodness is weakness.
I think it's demonstrably false for everybody.
Well, there's some contexts in which being philanthropic, like European countries, not being
Insider.
Where's your data? It ain't insider. That clip is on YouTube.
Don't y'all
look at Derek's face right now.
Don't do it.
We was watching this before we started.
What's the next topic we got? What's the next question?
Next question is the law of next topic, the law of universal influence. Like the ripple effect, our energies affect everyone around us, whether we know the person or not. Since everyone is connected in some way, our thoughts, beliefs, actions will affect other people. The more positive you are, the more positive influence you have on others. What's up? Do y'all agree or disagree with this law of universal influence? Start with Fresh.
At the risk of agreeing with everybody, so we don't have any real discourse. I'm just gonna ask this: how did they? What experiment did they run to prove this theory? Like, where's the scientific process here?
Good question. Good question. And
AKA,
let's.
how you know?
Yeah, and that's the consistent theme with a lot of these laws that lacks peer review. It's notable. It's notable that it doesn't have any. It's definitely notable that it's absence for peer review. So no, I haven't seen any evidence or data behind it. As far as what about you, CQ, Derek, to answer a
Actually,
fresh question?
actually, I don't. I'm consistently not going to ever like the law stuff. So if I put the law stuff aside, this this is
Mm.
probably the closest one for me that I agree with. But I
Mm.
agree with it in the sense. Well,
Oh
actually,
man.
I'll come back. I agree with an asterisk.
Oh man, I don't know, man. This stuff is like, I would say like there's things that sound great about it, and it's like wow, yeah, that'd be amazing. But I'm with Freshly, like yeah, like how do you know, man? Because like that's yeah. So I would say I disagree, but there are parts of it that just I think emotionally speaking, there are parts of it that sound nice, and you would want something like that to be true. It kind of pulls
Em-
at the inner strings of your heart.
Emotionally is the perfect yes. Fantastic, CQ. This feels right. It makes me
Yeah,
feel better.
right.
It makes me feel hopeful. It makes me feel like I don't have to work hard for everything that I get. I just sit on the couch, but I'm tired because I got all these kids. My man left me, or my wife left me. Uh, the white man don't want me to succeed. Let me just sit on the couch, think positive thoughts. Yeah, that'll get him on my side.
now, I will say when you break the different components of these laws down, there is proof to validate some of these things. There is some proof that seems to suggest if you say affirmations and things of that nature does help. If you write down your goals and envision what you want to accomplish, those things individually do help people. You
Yeah,
know,
but those are talking about how they impact the user, not the
yes,
universe around the user.
yes,
If you think
yes,
positive thoughts, you will feel better and get up and go do what it is that you need to do to accomplish the goals that you've set for yourself.
for
It
sure.
doesn't just speak to the universe and the universe will like, you know what? That's a positive thought. Let me go ahead and help them out.
Yeah, for a lot of these laws and people that write books and make money off of this stuff, once quantum mechanics came out and quantum physics came out, they just went crazy with it. And they started using everything they didn't understand about quantum mechanics to justify these quote unquote laws that we can't observe and or test. So like one thing you'll see is the use of the word energy. Energy to them is whatever they want it to be in the moment. It doesn't have any physical properties, but it's somehow still affecting physical things, and that's not explained. And so people that are ignorant about reason and science and don't even have the curiosity to look it up, they just found something that's gonna scratch their itching ears.
Yeah, they're weaponizing the
Confirmation
common
bias.
man's ignorance against them. It's similar to a quote unquote magician in the dark ages. It's just science. I know it's science. I know it's a chemical process, but it's to my advantage that you don't know it. So now you think I have some sort of ability or power that you don't have because you don't understand it. It's for charlatans. It's designed to. That's why I said the first when you say the law, that stuff is designed to take advantage of ignorant people or lazy people who are not, like you said, woke and going to go do the research themselves. And those people, I'm gonna say this might be a little controversial. I blame the quote unquote magician less than I blame the the common man.
His
Because I think
audience.
his audience, because I think that stuff. I think those people are already looking for something for an easy way out.
Yeah, well, let me say this. Let me say this, and this is not going to be an exact hit on the target we're talking about, but I think it is a parallel. I've seen this a few different times pop up on my timeline. I know we got comments, but one thing that they talk about is like people that are really into astrology. It says that the studies they've done on that is that the people that tend to be in astrology tend to have lower IQs and to be more prone to narcissism. I think this somewhat can apply there as well.
Parallels.
And the reason why I say that, as far as the narcissism part, when you think the world kind of revolves around you, the universe revolves around you, you have this much power and the shape, all these different things. It's almost like going back to the Garden of Eden and saying, you could be like God, kind of a thing. Here we're back at that place again, but it's a very narcissistic way of being. It's like, it reminds me of, Lucifer turning into Satan, right? So it's to me, it's a very similar point right there. And then on the first part, as far as I forgot the first part I was going to bring up, but yeah, so I'll end it right there. Oh yeah, I said narcissism and I said low IQ. Now I'm gonna tread lightly on the low IQ part, but
tread lightly.
Yeah, but people that really didn't grasp the concepts of critical thinking after the 12 years of schooling and maybe with some college, they're a lot more susceptible to false teachings and bad philosophies because they lack the tools to decipher what the truth is.
Yeah, it's also got a definition. Unfalsifiable.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is unfalsifiable.
Confidently asserting the theory or hypothesis is true or false, even though the theory or the hypothesis cannot possibly be contradicted by an observation of the outcome of any physical experiment, usually without strong evidence or good reason. It's definitely, and that's why it's a good thing that for those, it's very lucrative. You can get into this business because you can't prove them wrong.
Yes, and that's my, well, sorry, could you read the comment for me? So I want to keep.
Oh yes, yes sir. Where we at now? Melanie CT said it's the broken window syndrome. Vice versa also applies. Shout out to you, Melanie.
So I don't know if you want to put the vice versa up there. Are you able to do that or no?
I can.
I think you mean the broken window syndrome.
Yeah, I keep talking while I pull that up.
What did you say, Freshly?
So I think you mean, do you want to put up the broken window syndrome?
What did I say? I think I know what I said.
Do you want to put the vice versa up there?
I figured I said that. I was like, I know I didn't say that, but I probably didn't say that. But yeah, so yeah, the broken window. You want to put the vice versa also applies definition up there? So my issue with a lot of this stuff is that when
appreciate that fresh.
These people are beguiling ladies primarily, just like astrology, just like crystal cells. This law of attraction stuff is targeted towards women, towards their failed dreams and hopes, and it gives them a false sense of security and something that you cannot falsify, as stated earlier. And my biggest issue with this stuff, a lot of times, with a lot of these topics that we talk about with things that are unfalsifiable, is when this lady finds a man to enter her life, how can a man lead somebody when they have these type of beliefs?
If he's good enough, he can disprove them, and we can move on from it.
Well, you can't that's what the whole point about the non-falsifiable thing comes into play. You can't falsify it. If somebody believes that, I manifested whatever came to me, I manifested this, I did that, and I manifested it. There's no way to prove that they would have ended up there anyway. There's no way to prove there's no way to prove those things to them. So you can't tell them, you can't show them. It's like somebody saying, God told me. Mm-hmm. God told me we're supposed to be together.
It's easy enough to disprove that stuff. In the words of the venerable Jay-Z, I heard Muck say they made Hove say, okay, so make another Hove.
Okay, so if somebody says God said we're supposed to be together, Freshly, how are you going to disprove that?
I'm saying, show me where he said that.
He said it to me when I was in my dreams.
He didn't say it to me. I didn't have the same dream.
That's not a disproof.
It's not a disproof, but when you ask for proof that can't be given, that's your foothold into the falsifiability of it.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
well, I mean, if you know how to do it, definitely, I would love to see that in real time because.
well, again, obviously, you would have to.
Oh, Derek, didn't you deal with that situation where?
Don't you bring me into this?
What our former pastor?
Oh,
Our former pastor told Derek. Derek was breaking down, exegeting the text in the Bible, and had clear, didactic teachings on a particular topic that we've discussed in the past. And then, lo and behold, our pastor at the time, said, "I got a vision from God."
He said, "Lo and behold, that's wild. You don't know. Lo and behold, conveniently."
What? Derek, were you able to convince him out of that vision from God?
yeah.
Yes, it works.
He
almost spit his juice out. Yes.
He wouldn't admit it, but he admitted it. He admitted it behind closed doors.
Oh, that's even worse. Tell the people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Show your face. We got comments. Shout out to Jason Rucker. What up, my boy? Said, yo, what's up, kilowatts? He said, first they have to respect you, then they are willing. Oh, they said first they have to respect you, then they will be willing to listen. That's how you get someone to not hear but actually listen. Okay. All right. Let's get back to the definition. What Melanie mentioned, the broken window syndrome. I'm gonna pull that up on the screen for y'all. The broken window fallacy argues that there is
it's
no.
Not on the screen, so you know. It's not on the screen, just so you know.
Oh, okay. What about it? Okay. Appreciate that, fellas. Right here. All right. How we looking? All right. The broken window fallacy argues that there is no economic gain from fixing the destruction caused by a certain event, even though the capital will be spent to repair any damage. That is only a maintenance cost that does not spur the economy in the long run, as it is not a true increase of economic output. Yeah, good one. That's a good one. Appreciate that, Melanie.
Who said that? I would love her. I would love her to come on and correlate that.
Melanie CT.
Come on, Melanie.
Feel free to come on board.
Talk to me.
Two. It's like, I want to say this is
tragic.
It's probably like 12, 13 cognitive bias that humans tend to use we got who's this? This one we got Kevin Garnett reading. Oh man.
Nah, that's
right. Why, man? You had to do this in front of company, man. That's gracious, man.
That's what it is.
Ooh, that is crazy.
more like Kendrick Perkins.
Oh, you got to go worse.
Hey, that's Texas chill.
Oh yeah, Port Arthur. I was born in Texas.
Hold on.
I was born in Texas.
You know, he was born in Texas.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so like I was saying, there's 12 common types of confirmation bias that we usually affects our reasonings. So the one I think that is important to mention right now is the confirmation bias. So let me pull that up on the screen and get y'all thoughts on the confirmation bias.
All right, so while you pull it up on the screen, you was born in PA, you know, so you just shake your head, yes or no.
I'm not saying.
Port Arthur, Texas? That's what I heard you say? Come on, man, you gonna be adjacent.
Hey, like Kendrick Perkins is my Texas brother. That's all I'm gonna say with that. He's my Texas brother.
I don't know if you want to align yourself with Kendrick Perkins. He got too many L's on TV.
Hey, good basketball player, man.
He's not though. He's not.
Hey, you got a ring? All right, confirmation bias.
We're gonna have to have a conversation one day.
For sure. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a cognitive bias where people have the tendency to search out, interpret, or even recall information in a way that reinforces pre-existing beliefs. So it's hard. Just like Volker was saying earlier, it's gonna be hard to if a woman already have confirmation bias, it's gonna be hard to convince her out of something that she's already confirming uh, what is true. Whatever she believes in, she's gonna align herself with the answers, whatever she believes in. That's gonna be difficult to try to convince that person out of that bias. Anybody else want to talk to that? Speak to that?
Anybody want to speak to that?
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of like when somebody's like grandmother, kind of like in sales, if somebody had a bad experience with a certain product or whatever the case may be, let's say it's a person's close friend and they let them know that that product is bad, and more than likely because of those pre-existing beliefs from that previous person, they're not going to buy from you, and they'll never usually tell you, it's just something in the back of their mind that their friend told them. So I definitely agree with that. It's definitely hard to change somebody's mind when there's already something pre-existing that's kind of like entrapped them in a way, like subconsciously.
Harder, but
Mm.
not impossible.
Yeah, especially
Can
for
be
me.
done.
Yeah, got to have what they call what they say nowadays. Got to have some riz or some aura. What they say, the aura got to be
Aura
right.
points is going up. Hey,
Yeah,
Vulcan, don't you? Vulcan typically don't go. He don't go into a debate or argument or anything like that unless he going in there to flip somebody's mentality and their way of thinking. So it can be done. It is hard. I think once you convince somebody or once you prove to somebody the merits of using logic and reason, once you get that, that's the first step, and then you can start to break down their preconceived notions or their confirmation biased thoughts and beliefs.
Hmm.
Takes a long time though, so I wouldn't be doing it on somebody you don't care about.
Hmm. So, anybody got anything they want to add as far as the universal influence?
No, I think we can move on.
All right, let's get to the next topic. Let's get to intuition. Let's get into intuition. I'll pull it up. That's the stage. All right. What is intuition? Yeah, I see it on the screen.
Yeah.
Let's go around the room. You define intuition, and then after that, I'm gonna ask everybody: should we trust our intuition? Let's start off afresh. What is intuition?
You can still be who you wish you is. It just ain't happened yet, and that's what intuition is. And I wonder.
Yeah, Derek.
I joke.
Well, I mean, I guess the form.
Well, real quickly. I think we have more people in the background. So
All right.
I'm seeing people. I'm seeing a Shaq and a Tom somewhere. But go ahead. Sorry, Derek. Go ahead.
Check it out.
What's up, Derek? What were you saying, Derek?
It was there in the private chat. Yeah.
I'm sitting in the chat. All right, go ahead, Derek.
Well, I'm looking at
I'm
looking at the formal definition, and it's the ability, the ability to understand something immediately without having to have any verification of it. It's just like my conscious reasoning is right. That's what it is. And whoa, no, we shouldn't trust it.
Okay. Shouldn't trust it.
Mm-mm.
Fresh. Should we trust our intuition?
Not implicitly.
CQ ain't on. CQ. Should we trust our intuition?
I would say no.
All right. Vulcan.
Yeah, I would say that we have to in certain situations, and intuition is just our
Instinctual.
yeah, it's instinctual. So I mean, obviously, as babies, young, even as we get older, the things that we have to instinctually do. I've caught things, something's falling off the counter, and I caught it before I realized I was even trying to catch something. But my intuition said, this thing is hot. If it touches you, it's gonna burn. So I go and catch it real quick, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did that. Wow, that's crazy. I wish somebody could have caught this on camera. I mean, I'm like Spider-Man. So there's times, but it's not so much of a trust thing because it's really not a thought-out process. But I know this question's going to people talking about trusting your heart, trusting your feelings, trusting your gut, trusting your intuition. So in that sense, I would agree with everybody else. No, I wouldn't trust it.
Real quick, I think that trusting your intuition is based on your ability to accurately process and understand the intuition, i.e. it's not just a feeling. You got to be able to understand and work your way through to where the real danger is, and not just go off the initial feeling, which is what, like James said, or excuse me, what Vulcan said is what most people are doing. Like, I felt this way and then I did it. I think instinctually people sense certain dangers. And then when that danger happens to them, or when they avoid that danger, that's how you can connect that intuition, that instinctual movement and understanding. But they were able to suss that out and follow that to the point of proof, as opposed to, I just felt he was a bad guy. If at the end of that you don't have the proof, then you could be just as wrong as you are right, which means you shouldn't trust it because it's not infallible.
All right, let me read comments. Got for Shaq. It said, but we always trust our intuition, but I don't think we truly know what it is.
That's not in the chats. The last chat is, I think your intuition is an accumulation of the experience, logic, and speculations you built up in life.
I was gonna say, when it comes to
you're reading the wrong chats.
I know I'm reading the private chat, but I thought
you're reading the wrong chats.
Yeah, I think that was going to contribute to the conversation, what he was saying. So that was why I chose to read that.
Man, let that man do his job.
Yeah, so Mr. Watts, appreciate the comments. A shout out to Help the Bread, said fire emojis freshly and cooking. All right, so I didn't get, anybody else want to add on to?
Yes.
All right.
So there's actually two types of intuition, and depending on whether you could trust it or not, depends on how developed your intuition actually is. So the first intuition is the one that's inside of yourself, and it helps you understand yourself. People that are really intuitive, this type of intuition, are usually very intelligent. They know themselves very well, and they understand patterns. So typically you could trust this type of intuition. When it's underdeveloped, you understand that you're right, but you don't know why you're right. But your gut instinct tells you why you're right. The second
What happens
type of
when you're wrong,
intuition,
though?
well, you're usually right because it's based on insights, based off what you know. It's based off what you know, not based off what could be. And that goes on to the second type of intuition. It's based off what if I see this. You're thinking about all the possibilities of what could happen. So you typically have a vast imagination.
I would call that what our next topic is going to be about.
Real quick. So what happens when a young lady has an intuition that her experiences, her last boyfriend cheated on her, and because certain patterns are recognized, she treats her next boyfriend like that. She ends up losing a good man.
That's not innate intuition. That's external.
That's what you just described. It's based on her experiences, her understanding of her experiences.
That's actually
her recognition of patterns.
That's external intuition. So what she did is, people that typically have bad relationships, I would typically see them have external intuition. So they look at patterns.
That's what you said.
And they try to
imagine. What intuition do, right?
They try to imagine a life, what life could be with the individual. Not, this individual is like this, so I know this person's gonna be like this way. Does that make sense?
No.
Yeah.
Can you expound a little bit? Because I'm just going off of what you defined as the first innate intuition is people who recognize patterns. It is based off experience. So I just gave you a scenario that checks all those
All right,
boxes.
I put it this way.
Okay.
One focuses on probability, the other will
Hmm.
focus on possibility, and that's the difference. So you focus on what's probable based off what you know, versus one says, well, it's possible that I can get this outcome, even though it's not very likely. People that think that way typically try to change an individual, versus the other one just knows how that person is. You know that I can't change it, so you typically try to adapt to that person because you know the
Okay.
outcome already.
I won't spend too much time debating this, but I just wanted to point out that that's a much deeper well than what you explained. So I wanted to give people the full a fuller understanding of the statement that you just made because it was, in my opinion, it was incomplete because it didn't address the colloquial or societal definition or understanding of what intuition is. But there,
Well,
you defined it a little bit better.
well, I understand it, but there's two types. You either have one or the other, but you don't have both.
And which one should you trust?
Derek, want to jump in?
Yeah.
Typically, I would trust the people that have the intuit type of intuition where it comes from probability. Probability, because they're usually right. They focus on what they know.
Hold on for a minute. Let me read the comment. Shout out to Curtis. He said, "What's good, folks?"
What's
All
good?
right,
What's good with you?
Yes, I beat you to it, Vulcan.
all right. Derek, you said you want to add to the conversation, to the
Well,
dialogue.
I'm I'm listening to what the brother's saying, and I don't see those two types of intuition. What I do see is five types of intuition: physical intuition, emotional, intellectual, social, and mystical. And so it kind of goes through, what it is, but I don't see the two that he's speaking of.
Tom.
Oh wait, is this on the screen or something?
No, I'm looking at my screen, my other screen.
Oh, well, this is just cognitive patterns of behavior. So you typically see people that look at possibilities are typically very creative. They could pull things almost out of thin air. They can come with concepts that most people might not see. But then people that use focus on probability typically get tunnel vision, so they'll get stuck in one way of thinking. But they're usually right. Sometimes they sometimes they want a certain outcome and they look at the outcome that they want, but they can't get it. So that's where the other intuition possibility works. You focus on the environment around you and you make the most of what you have.
I'm not unclear on that. I'm unclear
Yeah,
on
it's
the two types of
I I
when you make
I
a
feel like
statement. Go ahead,
go ahead, Derek.
when you make a statement that there's two types of intuition, I should be able to, let me look up two types of intuition, and those two things that you're saying doesn't come up anywhere. I'm not debating that probability and possibilities is not what it is. I'm just saying that's not one of the types of intuition that you even see on the internet. So what? Actually, let me ask you that. Where are you getting that from?
Myers Briggs.
Okay.
So if you look at the two types of people, well, there's 16 personalities. So when you look at the two types of individuals, you start realizing there's people that think about all the outcomes, all the scenarios that could happen.
Okay.
And then there's people that look at all the possible scenarios that could happen.
What's it called? The NT, right? The initials NT.
No. It's called NE and NI. So
NI. Oh, NI.
introvert intuition, you could tell when someone's an introverted when they spend all their time in their head all the time because they're thinking about abstract concepts. They're thinking about they're thinking about what's probable. They're planning out. They're very strategic. But then you have people that have the extrovert intuition where They think about everything that's possible, so they get carried away with their imagination.
So that's how. So I guess defining them, you define the extroverted intuitive person and the introverted intuitive person, right?
Yes.
So one is so just to
So we're,
define, so
we're
everybody can be on the
defining
same
two.
page. All right. Hey,
Okay,
Vocal, you want to?
I
I
get it.
want to go to CQ. I want Vocal. Y'all want to speak to what Tom and Freshly and Derek has been conversing about?
Yeah, I guess the probability one, it doesn't sound like intuition to me, like what you're explaining, Tom. To me, it sounds more like the next topic we're going to talk about, which
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it.
All right, Vocal.
Well, last thing,
All
real
right.
quick. There's this saying they say, women's intuition.
Yeah.
What they're talking about is how men get tunnel vision, because a lot of men typically get tunnel vision. They have the introvert intuition. They trust what they know. They trust with what works. Women typically have more. They think about all the possibilities of things around them, so they interact with the environment. A man might say, I want this pair of jeans this specific way. A woman might say, well, that pair of jeans ain't there, so this pair of jeans looks similar. It might have a butterfly on it, but that's okay. It's still a pair of jeans. And that's the difference in how our minds typically work. They balance each other out.
All right. All right. So the next question, this stuff. Should we trust intuition in others? Trust the intuition in others. Start with CQ.
And others, I'm not really a big believer in intuition. So I would say no.
Derek.
Can I answer in song? Hail to the no, no, to the no, no.
What if it's your grandma?
Sorry, Grandma.
Fresh.
No. To Tom's point, I don't know how developed their intuition is or what type of intuition that they're utilizing. So I definitely can't trust it.
Tom.
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it comes down to the individual's goal or outcome. So some people might prioritize harmony, while others might prioritize, their own values. So you can't really trust what people say all the time, period, because they might be coming at a different angle than you are, even if they are highly intuitive. So that's what I would say.
Vulcan.
I'm gonna say I would never trust somebody's intuition if they say, "Hey, this is my intuition telling me this." But I will say this: I know that most people are very poor communicators. So we say one word, we mean another word. So I would try to help them figure out what you mean by your intuition, because sometimes what we mean by intuition, our subconscious and our conscious especially at our big old ages over here, all of us in our 30s and 40s and stuff like that on up. So what happens is you've established a lot of patterns about the world. Your brain has access to information subconsciously you don't have access to consciously, but you might still be able to notice patterns of certain things. Like the easy example I typically will use, those of us who play basketball. Actually, I'll use a different example. I just switched to basketball last minute. It's crazy why I did that. But basketball, when you're playing basketball long enough, you have certain instincts. So you put your hands in certain places, and you didn't think to put your hand there. You just know to put your hand in that right spot. You know to adjust your body a certain way because it's muscle memory at that point. And so somebody may mean by their intuition is that, hey, I'm it's intuition. I'm telling me, my gut's telling me that this person is not in a good mood right now. And I'm like, well, how you say that? I don't know. I just got to feel. I don't know. Just my gut's telling me. What they really mean is I've noticed their facial expressions, their body language, they're responding
Yeah,
differently. before they have more of a
It's
way
pattern
more.
recognition.
That's the simplest way of saying it. I appreciate that. But yeah,
It's innate pattern recognition.
absolutely. And they're calling it intuition, but it's really a behavioral science, right? So I will say I would trust those things. I don't want the audience to hear me say I don't trust intuition and think that what they may have to say brings no value. Intuition could just be the euphemism or the metaphor for, a filler word for what they really mean to say.
Okay. Also, for the family, also what Vocal just said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you say it again?
Any thoughts on what he just said?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I think I somewhat agree. Um, like when you, I think intuition is an actual thing. Because there's a difference between like you just having a gut feeling, because that's like underdeveloped intuition versus now I know that I know and I can prove that I know it, and that's highly developed intuition where you know
Yeah,
yourself
but is
very.
that at that point is that intuition?
Yes, because it's almost like you at first you can't trust your gut instincts,
Yeah,
but then
so
but after going through the thought process, you start to realizing, no, I know that I can trust my instinct, and that's the difference. Once you once you got to that cognitive level, but it depends on how your mind works.
basically you're saying once you apply conscious reasoning to it, then
Yes.
you can trust it as. But intuition is knowing something in the absence of cognitive reasoning.
Yes, when it's underdeveloped. So you may know something, but you may not be able to prove it. And so once you're able to prove it, now you know you could explain it very well to others.
But that's the only
That's
difficulty.
called recognition, though.
Yeah, the only difficulty what you're saying is when you say you might know something without being able to prove it, but then once you're able to prove it, you know it. So you just
So
use
you
no.
know it.
You use the no without proof, and you use the no with proof. The only problem with that is the definition of knowledge or to know is justified true belief. So if you can't justify it, then it's not knowledge.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, you believe something without proof, and then if you're able to verify it, then it becomes knowledge.
Well, it's almost like not knowing how your mind works, where you had a thought process. There was a thought process there, and something is telling you, hey, this is wrong. This is bad. Don't do this. But you're not aware of your thought process. So you haven't really worked it through. And you trust your instincts and you realize, oh man, if I didn't do if I didn't trust my instincts, I would have ended up in a bad situation. Now you know Now you know next time you see this thing, now you know for sure not to do this thing.
Are there not instances in life oftentimes where that same scenario you described does not produce the danger?
Yeah, of
So
course.
how can you trust it if it's that fallible?
Well, people that have that type of intuition like to know that they know. So like they would still try to confirm something. They want to confirm that it works. So
Right.
they're
That's
gonna
what I described in the first place.
You're right. But there are some instances that they may not be able to trust it, but they're gonna still try to recall based off past experiences. They're gonna be like, "Well, I've seen
But
this
it's, but
before."
but that's not
Right.
solely based on your intuition, though. That's not solely based on that.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, yeah,
That's,
That's
that's
pattern
also
recognition.
evidence
yeah,
Yeah.
tested.
yeah,
Mhm.
The
yeah.
young
Of course.
lady who breaks up with her boyfriend because he's uh, presenting something that she associates with her last relationship. She may lose that guy. Was her intuition right, or was it wrong? If he's a good guy,
Well, let's say
they
that person. Let's say this person was. She thought about all the possibilities or something, and then she thought, and she that affected how it made her feel. And then she goes to her girlfriends, and she's because she cares how she thinks, how they think less, but she cares how they think. And so say, hey, what do you think about this with this guy I'm with? Oh, I think that guy's good. that validates how she feels. And then she starts looking at the little details of him. That right there is a complete thought process of how someone works things through. But she used her intuition first. She imagined the different possibilities with this individual, and it made her feel some type of way, and it made her commit in a way.
That's a full blown experiment. That's a full blown cognitive reasoning session that she just had.
Right.
At what point does it leave the realm of how we colloquially understand intuition?
Well, this is only one type of personality, and what that does is it believes off of hope. It doesn't go off of what I know. It just goes off of hope. When that person experiences a bad situation, they say, because they use their last cognitive function, SI, and they say, well, this happened to me in the past and it didn't work for me. So I assume that all of this, that people like this, is not going to work for me too. So they hold on. They typically are very detailed, and they hold on to grudges.
Yeah, it's called PTSD. There's
But
it's a syndrome.
but
There's
that
treatment for that.
but
Syndrome.
but since they rely on other people's thoughts, they can't process thoughts on their own. They're not analytical. That's where introverted thinking comes from. That's where critical thinking comes from. People that are able to critically think can analyze things with their own minds. They don't need external thoughts to process things. They can rationalize it on their own.
All right, so let me
Yes, I
jump
did.
in and get the comments.
Go ahead.
Jason Rucker says, "Talk." Mr. Watt said, "My 13-year-old instincts kept me from trusting people's dogs. Not trusting." All right, Vulcan. What do you say to people who say you're nitpicking, and why is it important? You want to answer that? Melody CT said the scenario is more deductive reasoning, not
Yes, thank you,
intuition.
Melody.
Shout out to Melody. Yes. All right.
By definition.
Oh, Mr. Watts, another question. What Q about? That's hilarious. Well, about the people who say, "I just on out." Oh, was that on
I
out?
just know.
She's
I
the one.
just
I
know.
just know
Know she's
she's
the
the one.
I just know she's the one.
You one of
Okay.
those people who can't read the backwards sentences on
No,
Facebook,
he
man.
say no. All right.
There's
What
enough
answer?
stories on
so.
Facebook of those people being wrong.
All right. CQ
So,
Derek.
Shadera, I think frozen. Are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
I'm here.
so Melanie says, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Enos.
I'm fine.
You want us to answer that question or?
Yeah. Then pull it back up. You want to let's start with CBX. Oh no, this is related to the. Well, I guess you can answer this, and then we get the panel answer the other questions. All right.
Anybody want to tackle that? Tackle it or?
Well, it seems like it's actually you, at Vulcan.
Yeah. So anybody want to tackle before I tackle it? Okay, I'll tackle it.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Let me
Go ahead.
tackle it since they.
All right,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Derek.
I'm just gonna say a bit, and then you gonna finish it. You said, what do you say to people who say you're nitpicking? Typically, those are the people that aren't critically thinking. They don't even realize that the reason that you're asking a question that's coming across as though you're nitpicking is because you have the ability to understand. I need to get more clarity on what you think this is so that I can ask you the proper thing. But they feel the pressure that when they say what they're going to say, it already condemns them. So they're like, nah, man, you nitpicking. Let's just do this. And then you start going back and forth. Kind of like y'all's video the other day with you and you know who. But anyway. But yeah, so that's what I would say to that.
And an interesting thing, I think those people tend to be very detail oriented.
Yeah. You mean the person that is aware or the person that's unaware?
Yeah, I think they are unaware. I think they have the extrovert intuition. They're not able to recall patterns. They don't see things holistically. And that's why I think, even with the Vulcan, I think he has a holistic point of view. So it's hard to take a holistic point of view and bring it down to very small details. It's very hard to do so. So when you speak generally, people that are detail oriented, which actually the majority of the population, I think 70% of the population is detail oriented. So it's very uncommon for people to be highly observant. It's hard. So people say, "Oh, you're different. You have ADHD." When in reality, you just see the world differently. That's all it is.
Wait, you said 70% of the population is detail oriented or isn't?
Yeah, detailed.
Is
Yep.
It is.
They are. So
When you look
so
at
you said they're
society,
not. Those people are not observant.
it is an observation, but they don't see things holistically. They look at, they go like, what's step one? What's step two? They look at the order.
All right. So
Okay.
basically, people use or look at things as the system from step one, step two, and methods instead of seeing the whole big picture. Is that what you're saying, Jordan?
Right. They
Or
typically,
see the big picture.
they have great memories. They tend to get stuck on small details. They'll be like, wait, no, wait. You said this, you said this, you said that. And then when you have a person that speaks holistically, that person won't, there's going to be a communication problem there because this person sees it from a broad point of view. This person's looking at every little thing that you said, and sometimes they attribute it to themselves, which is narcissism. But still, like that's where the frustration starts to happen. When you have a person that's compassionate but sees the world from a big point of view, you can absorb the feelings of others, and if you're intuitive, you can understand how other people feel. So you could actually truly put yourself in that person's shoes and understand.
Hold on, Tom. We want to get to
Okay.
everybody answer the question. But make sure everybody keep the answers concise. Keep it concise. Get straight to the point, so everybody have enough time to speak. All right. So before, who else want to answer? I know Derek answered. Because Vulcan asked others to answer the question before he does. Before I get the rest of the panel to answer the question, Marie, another comment from
Yeah, I was
Ellen.
just giving anybody an opportunity to answer before I answered. If nobody else wants to take a shot at it, I'll do it now.
All right.
Says, what do you say? What do you say to people who say you're nitpicking? Well, I don't know what they mean by nitpicking. So what I would just say is that if they just mean that I'm paying attention to detail and being very meticulous about how I go about dealing with what I'm focusing on, yeah, it's true. Now, to justify the nitpicking, if it's legitimately me nitpicking, is the Bible says a little leaven leavens the whole lump, right? So it only takes a little bit of deception to throw a lot of people off and ruin the whole thing. We all familiar with the figure of speech that says the devil's in the details. Sometimes we end up in erroneous understanding of things because we don't focus on detail. So I would say, that being the case, it is important to nitpick at times. Somebody has to do the nitpicking, so the rest of us don't have to. When we're Googling things really quick so we can have a conversation, we're piggybacking on the fact that somebody else did all the nitpicking for us in that article or whatever we're looking at, so we can just pick out some things here and there and make some good points. Does that make sense? So there has to be a nitpicker. And in some of these conversations, I haven't heard the nitpicking in the broader society, so it's left up to me to do it. And that also explains about why it's important. We have to cast out things that would assert us above the knowledge of God. A lot of people are beguiled and hoodwinked because of their reliance on quote unquote guts or trusting your feelings, your intuitions, because those things cannot be falsified, they can't be quantified. There's a saying, you can't manage, you can't measure, because you can't measure that intuition. Where is it coming from? Where is it going? How do I know it's true? It leads people astray. People say, trust your first instinct. Why? And then when it works, they say, see, I got to trust my first instinct. When it doesn't work, we don't hear about that part. We only hear the wins. We don't hear the losses.
Facts.
It goes back to that confirmation bias again.
Yep. I don't associate
So
that because it doesn't line up with what I was thinking. What
absolutely
works for
right.
me.
So we definitely got to nitpick at times so that people have that resource. If somebody wants to get a robust elucidation of a particular topic, they need to have a source to go to. So the rest of us can have casual conversation and overlook the detail.
Often enough, the big picture thinkers or the holistic thinkers, when they fail and they don't tell you about it, if you were to do the research and go back through that process and identify the failures, it would have the failure point, the barrier or the opportunity for improvement would have been on one of those uh, things that the nitpicker would have discovered while he was combing through it.
All right. More comments from Mr. Watts. How do I get my wife instincts to trust me? Asking for a friend. We're gonna get back to that. Get back to answer your question. You're dealing with more with the left brain and the right brain. Feel connections, synapse with the less holistic, unbiased conclusion. The distinction between the two. What is this? Jessica Alexander said, Mr. Watts, in the behavior that makes her not trust you, LOL. There's behavioral patterns, and once you deviate from that, this good point, Vulcan. I'm asking for a friend, not me, but that's a very was a common interest in siding with the woman without any details. LOL. At Jessica
Trust
Alexander.
is a choice.
Or Jessica Alexander.
For,
It's a lot. It sets off mental alarms. What's going on here, man? And Mr. Watts, why on that man's part first? So somebody, how about both of y'all just come on the show and just hash it out, whatever's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
All right. So
The Vulcan.
I'll post the link in the comments just so.
yeah, don't read their comments no more unless they're gonna come on here and have it out for the people.
all right, next question. How do I get my wife instincts to trust me? Asking for a friend. Wink, wink.
We really gonna deal with that?
No,
Hey,
there's no
I can,
way.
I'll tell
It
you what.
depends. It depends on who your wife
Hey,
is.
man.
I don't think.
Yeah, we're just gonna go around the room. We can deal with it. Just keep your answers concise. Let's help our brother out. He really needs the help. He's asking for a friend. So he came to the Vulcan
First,
soapbox for answers.
I would just say, what the heck? I would say, bro, like, don't expect your wife to trust anybody's instincts. Yeah, I mean, like,
No, it's his
oh,
wife's instincts that don't trust him. So basically,
yeah,
that's
If
what
you're
he's saying.
watching
He's
on
saying
YouTube, Vulcan, just put the link on YouTube. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
nah, I mean, that whole instinct stuff, man. Like, the more I like read about it and learn about it, I feel like it comes from something more than just intuition or instincts or anything. There's a certain thing that human beings
more
are
often
capable.
distrust is based on feelings and emotions. If there's no proof, that type of because if it wouldn't be instincts, it wouldn't be intuition, as it were. If you could prove it, it's just it's a feeling that I have. So to be honest with you, your problem could be solved by sitting down and actually communicating through the feeling and emotions that are attached to this. And if it's attached to something that's real, that's realistic, a behavior of sorts, and you guys agree that it can be changed, then change that behavior, or prove that behavior isn't inherently bad, and it's just something that you don't like. Right? There's a preference thing. A lot of folks place so much emphasis on what their preferences are as opposed to what's fact and logical.
For sure. Jessica. So like I said, if anybody was Vulcan Seeker, if y'all could put the link, I'm not able to do it right now. You could put it in the YouTube, the comments, get other people to join in. It was just a joke, hence LOL. However, my opinion applies to both genders. Patterns aren't limited to romantic relationships. Also, another comment from Jessica Alexander says, but if the shoe fits, slap it on and wear it. All
Yeah.
right. So, all right. Let's get to the next question. What CQ was talking about earlier was hinting. What is discernment, and how do we prove our discernment? What is it?
Improve.
Oh, improve. Sorry, improve our discernment. Appreciate that, Fresh. Let's start with you, Fresh.
Since you want to correct people, you just go first. Is that what happened?
That's exactly how it happened, man.
I figured. I saw that coming. I said, you know what? He gonna get me for that one. I can read. It's not my fault.
Snap. Hey, we still on that? I thought come on, that was in the past, man. The bro's growing. He's growing.
Oh man.
You got it, Fresh.
What was the question? I'm sorry. Oh, discernment. I think it's the ability to understand and judge situations that are not obvious or straightforward, and the way you can improve it is gain experience, do research, and improve your pattern recognition.
Yeah, this is one though. I'm just read the definition when the speed is up, and we can just get everybody to see how we can improve it. How about we just try that? I think that's a better way of.
I can't hear you. It sounds like you're whispering.
All right, what about now? It sound like,
He's
or was it?
mumbling. He's a mumbler. Mumbler.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, as far as best
Man, it's not a recognized source of information. Get that off the screen, man.
encyclopedia.
And I got ads attached to it, man. If you
Oh,
scroll
snap.
down, boy, there's
Discernment,
gonna be girls in your area that want to meet you, man. Get off that page.
discernment, the ability to judge well. Astonishing lack of discernment. The ability to judge well. All right, let's go with Chris. CQ.
OCQ.
What's the question?
The question: how do we?
What is discernment? That was the question. What is
Yeah,
discernment?
no, that's not the question. I mean,
How do we improve?
yeah, how do we improve?
Well, why don't we just we gonna Google? Why don't we Google? We just Google how to improve with discernment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's crazy work, especially because you
You
started
could have
out
saved us a lot
asking
of time,
people
let's just Google.
what is discernment.
Well,
Yeah, let's Google all of this stuff.
you know what's interesting about
Assuming you want
discernment.
their opinions.
When I look at discernment, I look at a lot of entrepreneurs. They're like the best people to look at when we talk about discerning. Because in a business, you have to understand. You got to understand your talent acquisition. You got to put the right people in the right places to make your system work. I think entrepreneurs are the best people that are able to discern. So to improve your discernment, people that are observant and intuitive are one of the best people to discern because they understand the patterns and they're highly observant. So people like this, I would say, and you got to increase your experiences. For people that are detailed and think about all the possibilities and things, I think they have to outsource this. They would have to go to someone that knows better, who's more observant, and outsource that discernment from them.
Just to not
All right, we got more comments. We got.
let me, because I was going to say the same thing. I think this goes to experience, but I also believe as you're experiencing, you have to consciously understand what's going on around you. Like you have to know what discernment is, because I got plenty of friends who have a lot of experience, but you look at their discernment and you're like, bro, how do you not know this already? What's going on in life with you, like where you're not getting there? But because I think there's some of these are principles that have to be taught along the way as well. And if you don't have nobody around you that thinks this way or has these skills, then you can have all the experience in the world and never learn discernment. So to improve discernment, I believe you have to have experience, but at the same time, while you're having that experiment, while you're going through that experience, you have to consciously know what's going on around you and actually what these words mean, like discernment,
So that's what I would say, how to improve it. So you can be actively working on improving it as you're having, because you're going to have more and more experiences, you know.
All right. All right, let me read some more comments. Help the Bear said, can y'all hear me fine?
Yeah.
Coming in. What are we doing here? Jessica Lazara, I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet then. Mr. Watts says, don't. Most entrepreneurs fail statistically.
Ooh,
Mr.
tough.
Watts said, I think CQ grew up with a with a poster of the White Ranger on his wall.
Perfect time, baby.
let's, let's get let's
That's
get Derek.
wild. Y'all leave that man alone.
Let's get Derek in here.
Rest in peace. What's his name? Tommy.
Listen, Derek, what is discernment? How do we improve our discernment?
Well, since since the definition is the ability to judge well, I think in order to judge well, you have to be able to put things together that you've learned that have proven to be true. Like if you learn statistically, this is the way people act in this situation, or this is the way this happens when this happens. I think as you go through life, you can put some of these things together. It Your discernment could get better. I'm gonna give you guys a quick example, and it's gonna be debatable, so I already know it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So there was a time many years ago when I was married, and my wife kept accusing me of something, and I was like, I ain't doing nothing. I mean, I'm 100% not doing anything. And I kept thinking, why is she so 100% in her mind accusing me like it is real to her? And then I realized something. This is where the judge well comes in. This is where learning more about things that as you go through life. One thing I realized is that thoughts are things, especially when you're one with somebody. And I told my mom, I said, "Hey, mom, I think she's sensing what I'm thinking." I said, "Because I'm not doing anything, but I know I'm letting my mind wander." So I told my mom I was going to think of a particular person, a particular race, everything. And I said, I want to see if she accuses me of that because she believes it. So I told my mom what I was going to do. 2 days later, my ex-wife comes to me and says, "Are you thinking about this girl?" And I was like, what in the absolute hell is this? So, you know what I
Sound
did from
like
that moment
witchcraft to
forth?
me.
What I did from that moment forth is I stopped having crazy thoughts while quote unquote not physically doing something. And the reason that I see it to be true is I know many men since that 15 years ago, I know many men that are being accused of infidelity that aren't physically doing anything, but all of them are doing stuff mentally and their wives sense it. And it ain't gonna go away until they change those thoughts. So my whole point with that was I took all these little things that I know, I put them all together in an experience, and I was able to discern what it was. So that's my point.
All right, we got after that, Vulcan.
You better
How to
not
improve?
you live.
Sorry, go ahead.
So you better not. I know where you live.
Oh yeah. No, I was gonna say was I was gonna. So how do we improve our discernment? For me, it's what the show's about that we do here. Improving your ability to think critically, and improving your ability to notice fallacious ways of reasoning, working on your listening skills, being patient, seeking to understand before being understood. All of that stuff's going to help you with your ability to discern. If you're quick to snap judgments, you may not have got all the information you need to be able to discern things well. All the fruits of the spirit are important, right? All of these things help us to be better discerners. So I mean that's the purpose of the show. But the most important thing I would say, well, it's debatable what's the most important thing. But I think what's emphasized the least, because I'll say patience and understanding, getting an understanding in all that you do is very important. I don't know if that's more important what I'm about to say next, but that one's talked about at least a little bit more in society. What you hardly ever hear is people talking about what fallacies are. That's illogical. What are the laws of logic? What are the laws of reasoning? Because everything that we have in our minds, every conclusion we come to, we have the reason of that conclusion. So if we're discerning, we're reasoning to conclusions. And that process right there, the interim process to get to that conclusion, you're using reason. And there's laws, there's rules to reason. So the more you learn those things, the better you are at discerning things. So to me, that's the main thing. I think a lot of people get wrapped up in fact checking stuff, which is important, but that's kind of easy to do with modern technology. What's not easy to do is to fact check fallacious arguments. Because if you don't know the terms, you can't put it in Google and the answer's going to pop out. If you type in, if somebody's using the word to define the word, and you type that in Google, it may not tell you that circular reasoning. It might not say using the word to define the word of circular reasoning. You may not know that. It may be hard. You may have to know circular reasoning in order to identify that part. So that's why I think one of the main ways to improve discernment is to learn the science of reason.
Well, you actually answer the last question.
We got all the comments?
I was gonna say one last thing. I was like, so there's a difference between discerning people and discerning reasoning, logic. There's different things you could discern.
Jessica Alexander said, "You're a caddy tonight. The dogs are barking." Laughing emojis. Keep cooking, invoking the reasons. Reasons. That's what I'm here. Yeah, that's what we're here. Okay, I. Type some more stuff in. So yeah, that's really. I mean, I want to go ahead and take a touch. Vulcan's probably can expound on this a little bit more. But how do we determine what's good discernment versus bad discernment? Y'all want to go ahead and add to that? Let's start with Derek. Am I coming out fine?
Yeah, you are. Can you put the question back up?
Yes, sir.
Who determines good or bad discernment?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
How should we determine? Yeah. How should we determine who has good discernment versus bad discernment? How should we determine that? How should we? Who has good discernment?
I think a person that has good discernment has a lot of the information that is true. So you got a lot of true information about a particular subject or whatever, and you can discern it to be so. There's your judging well. But a bad discernment, I think it would be more of a person that just says, well, I feel this way, therefore it is. So I think the bad discernment is the person that goes just based on what they feel, and that can be out of the place.
I discern that this is a bad question because discernment, as we already defined before this, has a definition. So if it's bad discernment, then it's not discernment. Discernment is the ability to judge well.
Yeah, to recognize.
If you are discerning, then you are judging well, and that's the end of that conversation. If you are not judging well, that's not classified, or that doesn't qualify as discernment. It qualifies as something else.
So yeah, maybe we should say, maybe the better question would be, how do we determine who has good discernment versus those who have little to no discernment?
Or even better, how do we determine who has discernment and who doesn't?
How do we discern who has discernment?
The people that are able to get the outcomes that they desire are the ones that are very good at discerning. If you could come up with an outcome in your head and you're able to get that desired outcome, I would say you're very good at discerning.
You want to speak to that, Vocal?
Why you single me out?
But, so real quick, I just want to before Vocal, let me just get this quick statement out. So because I want to kind of qualify Tom's earlier statement about entrepreneurs being the best people to look at for good discernment. I think I would want to qualify that for the people by saying that successful entrepreneurs would be the best people to look at for discernment.
Yeah, for me, I would say, if I go back to that question, I would say the best people at discernment are probably going to be philosophers. specifically, just philosophers in general. I won't even make a subcategory. I'll just say above entrepreneurs, it'd be philosophers, and they wouldn't even be close. If we were to get 100 entrepreneurs in a room and 100 trained philosophers in a room, and we give them different propositions and have them work through them, the philosophers are going to blow the entrepreneurs out of the way, out of the whatever you blow them out of out of the room. And not only that, I would even say scientists under philosophers would blow entrepreneurs out of the room.
Yeah, but hip hop would say you ain't getting no money. You don't know this.
That's the thing.
All right, philosophers is poor. You poor.
But some philosophers are entrepreneurs.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
what I say is, like, when you look at certain traits, they all have something. Successful ones, they all have one thing in common, and that's observation and intuition. They all have that in common. The ones that are able to observe and create an outcome that they want based off what they know, that's what they all have in common. That. Now there are some exceptions to this rule, but I think they got lucky.
But I'm going to ask you this question directly because of your comment you just made, which I thought about nitpicking it, but I decided against it and just asked you this question. Do you agree or disagree that if you had 100 philosophers in a room and you had 100 entrepreneurs in that same room and you gave them propositions, different things they had to work through and discern what the best outcome will be, what's going to happen, predictive, all that kind of stuff, who do you think would win?
See, this is where it comes down to what they value. So, yeah, it would come down to what they value. I would say philosophers definitely have a big advantage because they could spend hours, just hours and hours inside.
Okay, that's cool. That's it. Yeah, we're on the same page then. Okay, cool.
All right, another comment.
I don't want to waste too much time because I think we're on the same page.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
All right, more comments.
Yeah, I think your service is a little bad.
Are there any good recommendations for people?
Hey, just so you know, Vulcan, I think your service is bad because I can hear you. It's fine. I don't think it's your service. I think your dial ain't dialing. Because I can hear him just fine.
Are there any good recommendations of people to listen to get better our discernment? Any books, any pods, anybody y'all can recommend for Mr. Watts?
Vulcan Soapbox.
Yeah, Vulcan Soapbox. I have some recommendations, but anybody else want to say anything?
No excuses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Brian Tracy.
What'd you say? I didn't hear it.
It's a book called No Excuses, I believe, by Brian Tracy. He gives a lot of good discernment on, how to like, bring, like, with hard work and dedication, like how to bring your, using discernment to bring your goals to fruition and accomplishing them. But he's not doing it off of some like whimsical, and he's not doing it off of some whimsical thing. It's based off of discerning the next steps on what you should do, what the other people are doing out there. So I would just say Brian Tracy, No Excuses, is a good book to read.
So for me, I would say the best people you can listen to on discernment would be epistemologists. That's a branch of philosophy, and the whole science of epistemology is how do we know what we know. So it's literally what we're talking about with discernment. It's literally the science of discernment. So epistemologists. Now, if we pull back from that, I would say the best book to read about that is the Bible, because you're gonna get an understanding philosophically, morally, ethically, every kind of way you can imagine, with money, everything. It gives you these proverbs are meant to help us with our discernment, right? Peer review. The scientific method was birthed out of the Bible. So all the first early scientists, from Galileo, Copernicus, Charles Darwin, all these guys were theologians. They were natural philosophers that became scientists. And a lot of that was because of their understanding of how to discern the natural laws, how to discern the intangible laws, like the laws of math, the laws of logic, things that are laws that apply everywhere at all times, but we can't put them in the beaker, we can't heat it up, we can't measure it. So yeah, that's what I would say as far as books and things to look into. You can't get better than the book that literally built modern civilization, especially in the Western world.
Excuse me.
Is my audio that bad?
The comments, yeah.
I can get on my Wi-Fi if my audio is that bad.
I hear you. I hear you fine, but
So
So
yeah,
comments? Okay. All right. It said Vulcan needs to put some fall on the ends of the internet antennas and hold them at a 58 degrees angle for better reception. That's hilarious. Yeah, I thought you was fine. I heard you pretty fine.
yeah.
Just so you guys know,
So yeah,
I pointed out reception, meaning his receiving him on his receiving end. So you guys are understanding what's happening. It's not if it was garbled to you, then you would need to put the foil on the ends of your antennas.
It's a good point.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a good point. So yeah. So where we at now? You know.
That was it. So that's the last question for the
That
7
was?
laws of Can y'all hear me? That was the last question for the 7 laws of manifestation, and it's how to manifest. And we added 2. We added discernment and we added intuition. We covered that did pretty well covering that. And Help the Bear says, tell him, Vulcan, them spaceship walls is thick, walls thick. LOL. Hilarious.
Man. Yeah, I think we had one more question though.
Nah, Eno said we don't have any more questions. That's it. He's in charge, man.
Yeah, the last one is how should we determine who has good discernment versus bad discernment? Oh, let me see. Let me check the text message.
Man, don't check the text message. That's the last question.
Are soul
We had an hour
ties real or
42.
dangerous? I didn't see this one. This is an original.
So yeah, you asked the question. You done reading it or no?
Yeah, that wasn't on. Yeah, I can read it. It's fine. That wasn't on the group text. I'm looking at the way you said that group text. It said, "Are soul ties real or dangerous?" All right, let's ask the pet. Are soul ties real or dangerous? Let's start off with CQ.
Oh, come on, man. No, I mean, I do believe there's an aspect of exchanging DNA in somebody. I mean, that's about it.
So you say no, right?
Yeah, I say no.
All right, Derek. What about you?
Are soul ties? Say what is it again?
Are soul ties real and dangerous? Real and dangerous.
My limited knowledge is yes, real and dangerous.
All right, Tom. Are soul ties real? We got.
Well, when they say soul,
we got the lovely Pamela on the chat. She said yes, real. So what about Jordan? You saying real or not real?
So when you say soul tie, I think of people that are typically emotional and detail oriented.
Hold on, we're gonna get into the explanation real quick. I just want to real quickly so we can go around and we get into the why. You saying real or not real?
Well, what's the definition?
Whatever you have in your head, whatever it means to you, and then you'll explain why later on.
Okay. Let's just say yes in this context.
Okay. Freshly, how about yourself?
I mostly hear the term soul ties in terms of premarital sex or just, premarital sex. In that case, I'm going to say no.
Premarital relations. So you said, sorry, what'd you say? Mating.
Man, get that foil on there, man.
Bumping uglies.
Well, that's strange. He sounds pretty clear on my screen. What about y'all?
Yeah, he sounds clear.
Yeah, I can hear fine. I can hear fine.
Enos, what about you?
No.
No? Okay, so we got Derek saying yes, or whoever said yes, who wants to
Well,
take the
it's two
affirmative?
words. It's two words. One says real. It says our soul tie is real and dangerous. Real, no. Dangerous. I mean, I guess it depends how
You don't
you.
think they're real, then I mean, you wouldn't
How
think
can
they're
it be
dangerous. So
dangerous?
yeah,
Good
yeah.
question, right? 10 and a half.
So yeah, so I think what if I heard correctly, CQ, you said I don't know, you said yes or no?
I said no.
Okay, so as far as the yes, I think Freshly, you said yes, right?
This is why I said get the foil on your antennas, man. I definitely did not say yes.
Okay, so we just got Derek that said yes. Derek, why do you say yes?
Dom said yes too, but there, go ahead. My bad.
You didn't hear the second. You didn't hear the second part to my
I did.
statement. I said yes. I said, but when you finish, I'm probably going to change that thought. And the reason I said yes is I am clearly aware of where I have this information from to even say yes. And I already know that it's going to be faulty, and I'm already willing to it being faulty. So I'm just answering the question yes, because I have limited knowledge on what I think it is. So hey, Vulcan, that's what this podcast is for. Enlighten me.
So you want to explain the part that you would say is yes?
Oh, well, you learn in the church. It's your souls are tied together, and that's literally it. I mean, that's kind of the thing that they get in your head is you slept with her and you slept with her, and I start breaking that down. My gosh. So yeah. So break that down for me.
Pamela Smith says strong emotional connections form between people over a period of time. Hard to cut the relationship. One person may be codependent. Anybody want to address that?
Well, if that's what it is, then
Yeah.
Are emotions the soul?
So,
Are those things synonymous?
all right. You know what? Oh wait.
Go ahead, take a shot. Fresh, what's up?
Well, I just asked a question. Strong emotional connections, is that synonymous to soul tie? Or I mean,
Well,
strong emotional
think
connections
Fresh-
sound like strong emotional connections.
I think we should go ahead and try to define what a soul tie is to each of us.
Yeah. So I was actually,
Tom, take a shot.
yeah. So the reason why I said yes to the soul tie is not necessarily that I believe it exists, but there is a symptom of something going on here, and I think what's going on is you have people that are more sympathetic, more empathetic, and they value strong emotional bonds, harmony, right? So they tend to be detailed. People that are detail oriented tend to hold on to the past. So when you have strong emotions and you hold on to the past, you'll always be thinking about that person you could have been with. And so you'll never be able to truly let go of that individual. While you have people that are less sympathetic, less empathetic, they typically just run through people. They can let go easily. They don't hold on to grudges. They're more observant. They're more impulsive. So when you have people like that, they tend to forgive and forget. And that's what's going on right here. That's the phenomenon.
That's your definition of soul tie.
So my definition. That was my explanation, but the definition would be just individuals that are very highly emotional, that are detail oriented. That's what a soul tie actually is, because you value harmony, you value that emotional connection. So when I can't really put into definition. Maybe someone else can help me.
Okay.
All right. So
did you say people who are highly emotional and detail oriented?
Well, he said he couldn't define it. He couldn't define it. Let's go with Fresh.
I don't have a definition for a soul tie. I don't think it's real.
Okay, you don't think it's real. Derek?
No, I'm in the I want to learn category.
Okay, all right. So I don't know if I
What
heard.
about you? What about you, Enos?
No, I already said on. I already answered. I said I don't think it's real.
Huh? Say it with
Huh?
your chest. I say it with your chest. What's your definition of soul tie?
All right. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. No, soul ties is not real. So I
That's
can
not
give
what
a
I asked you, brother.
definition. I can define how other people might define it.
All right, do that.
All right. This soulmates, love of your life, somebody you think that was destined for somebody to be with. That's the brief
Also,
definition.
compatibility.
Now, yeah, I guess I'll jump in with the soul tie part. So, and I'll give a little background on how it's usually used, and we hear it. It's definitely more of a religious terminology that we hear, and people talk about soul ties when they tell people to be careful of engaging with in intercourse with certain people because you can have soul ties. You're tied to that person, and some people would even go so far to say it's their spirits can get on you, and your spirits, your soul or spirits can get on them, and you could be inviting certain demons and spirits into your life that you don't want in your life, and blah 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 blah. So that's how it's typically. That's I would say the typical definition of a soul tie. You're tied together with your soul by mating with them, and when you go through that process, you're inviting certain things in your life that may not be good for you. Does that kind of fit with everybody's intuition on definition?
I say so. Dr. A. Williams, more comments. I think she's referring to Tom. You seem to be criticizing detail-oriented people tonight. Is there any positive about any positive about being detail-oriented? Go ahead, Tom.
Well,
Please
hold
keep
on,
it.
hold on. Before we answer that, let's finish this, and then we're gonna get to that too. That's a good
Hold
question,
on.
but
I
let's
thought
finish
you
what we're
asked that.
talking about, and then let's get to that right there. Excellent question, Doctor. So, but let's finish what we're talking about now as far as the soul tie. And so, as far as the soul tie, everybody heard the definition that I gave. Anybody disagree with that definition or don't think it's useful enough?
I
So
agree.
I'm
I think
assuming it's useful enough.
colloquially, that's what the societal definition is. How most people understand that term.
Okay. And so, in light of that, I mean, I'll speak to it. For me, the issue with the soul tie conversation, I heard it a lot growing up, and even as an adult, people talking about soul ties, and I'm torn because again, soul ties is a net kind of a nebulous term that we can't really ground in anything veridical or accurate that we can look up and say this is what it actually is, and this is what governs this particular perspective or notion. We don't have anything. If you want a Bible, look up soul ties. You're not going to find it. There's nothing in the Bible talks about soul ties in that way. But as Pamela Smith mentioned earlier, there is some truth to it in the sense of, we know that scientifically speaking, when people have intercourse, both genders produce a bonding hormone. Women produce a lot more than a man does to bond to that person. And when you're having that level of affection or bonding with somebody, and it's not somebody that you should actually bonded with, then that's going to be dangerous.
So it's a
It
hormonal
may.
tie.
Sorry, say it again.
So it's a hormonal tie,
Yeah, if we're gonna
not a
use
soul
time,
tie.
that absolutely right. Yeah, I'm 100% with you. Like I said, from a soul, if we're talking about like spiritual things, that's why I mentioned the Bible doesn't mention anything about the soul tie. Doesn't
Right.
mention anything.
So it's science. It's biology.
So yes, if we're gonna take soul ties as used, there is a danger in connecting with somebody in that way because now you're bonding, and when you bond, you become more open. You become more. You tend to acquiesce towards, especially if you're the lady. You tend to become more malleable to that man, and his vision, and his plan, and his characteristics, and you could be inviting what we call spirits, quote unquote. Again, this is not in the Bible, but colloquially, you can invite in spirits into your life. With that being said, this means that you get to be in this guy's bag, bag lady. You could be riding out with him to go to movies, and he's got drugs under the seat, and now you're getting arrested along with him.
So Is
I
it a
know.
tie that's based
Sorry.
on the?
Sorry. Go ahead, Fresh. Go ahead.
Because I want to ask this: is it a tie based on the act of sex or the emotion tied to the individual who has sex? Because there's women who don't have soul ties with men who gave them bad sex, whose
That's
sex
why.
wasn't satisfying.
That's why it depends on the personality. The people
Now,
that
I will say this.
both.
Sorry, we got a comment here. It says the Bible talks about when a man and a woman come together, they become one flesh. That is a spiritual tie. Now, my question about that is an excellent point. My question about that would be this: are they one flesh when they both say "I do," or are they one flesh at consummation? Because if it's one flesh at "I do," then that doesn't fit into the soul tie part. If they're one flesh at consummation, then we have a conversation to be had. That maybe could be considered a soul tie. That may fit into that. So I would like, if you don't mind, to clarify at what point is it a soul tie, when they both say "I do" and they're pronounced husband and wife, or when they consummate the marriage,
So Tom, does
or when they come together, or when you say when they come together, I don't know, because they're one. Because married people are one flesh, or
Right.
people
So married people, would you say they're soul tied?
Hold on, we got comments. Pamela Smith said the Bible talks about when a man and a woman. Oh, can y'all hear me?
he just read that? Jesus Christ!
Oh, you did?
Yes, we can hear you, but he just read that, bro. This is the conversation we're literally having right now. Tap in, lock in, brother. What you been doing over there, man? He got multiple screens, y'all. Let us see your other screen. I want to see what you're looking at. Tom,
I'll tell you.
are you saying that hormones are contingent upon personality?
Yes, I think so highly, because there are women that are not as emotional, but it's not as common. There are women that think like guys. So, and then when you look
Actually,
at
that's mentality. What does that have
yeah,
to do with the biology of the situation?
yeah, and I think it's possible that people that tend to be more emotional might release more oxytocin, and people that are less might release less of it. I mean, it kind of explains a lot of behaviors.
Yeah, but now you're speculating. You're making an argument from ignorance, right?
Yeah,
That is true.
are you saying that people who are less who have less emotion, or people who display less emotion? Because there's a difference.
There is a difference. There are people that are more expressive, but that's
Right.
sympathy and empathy. I'm talking about people that have just less of that. They are more antisocial. They tend to stand outside the group. That's what I'm talking about. So people, they don't bond as well. That's what I'm looking at. But when you look at men typically use their bonding agent is typically vasopressin, which happens when you go through struggles. And so your mind says, I could trust this individual because we've been through the struggle. So I trust this person. Usually that doesn't really happen. So a man could, especially with less empathy and less sympathy, could sleep with a woman, many women, again and again and again, and never bond. But when that guy finds that woman that he could build something with, then
So vasopressin also increases during sexual intercourse as well as during bonding. So
it does,
based on
because
your statement,
it has to do with
men should be
respect.
just as emotionally bonded with other men that they go through a struggle with as they are with women that they have intercourse with.
That's why you have friends. Your friends, you have friends because you have a common goal. So you
You have a
trust
shared experience.
yeah.
But if it's a vasopressin bond, that also vasopressin also increases during sex.
I mean,
Meaning the men
during knocking boots.
oh Welcome try not to get us demonetized during intercourse. It also increases. So based on your statement, it directly contradicts what Vulcan said earlier, whereas men tend to produce less of those hormones that create the quote unquote soul ties, which is scientific,
All right, we got
right,
biologically true.
but
excuse me. We
remember I'm
got
talking.
comments. Hold on, Tom. Focus, man. Oh, shut up. Tell Stock to holler at me.
Hey man, real quick,
Go ahead.
literally in the middle of a conversation. Don't.
Really?
Yes,
Let's get these
he.
comments out of here, bro.
Yeah, not in the
Man,
middle of a conversation that we're having. We're having a little debate right now. You read a comment that said, "Focus, man."
well,
Go ahead, Tom.
the reason I stopped
Intellectual fade.
the conversation wasn't going anywhere. To be transparent. All right, let me read Pamela Smith, and then we could just move the conversation um, past what y'all. Listen, the Pamela Smith said the sexual intimacy between a man and a woman is deeper than just a physical act. God created that way. Everyone should sleep with. Well, everyone you sleep with, you create a spiritual tie too. Some are stronger than others. Do y'all want to? Let's just move on. Do y'all want to speak to that?
No,
All right. Fresh says no.
I want to know how you know that conversation wasn't going anywhere. What are
I
you
was
basing that
playing.
on?
Oh, that's why I
I'm
said
basing,
intellectual fade. I said intellectual fade.
I'm basing that on my intuition. That's what led me right, and then I'm basing it off some of the my observation of our past interactions in the beginning of the show when the conversation wasn't going anywhere. So as the moderator, I want to go ahead
What
and
do you
move.
mean by not going anywhere? This is a
Going
show
to
about logic and reasoning. We're asking people to define and explain what they mean and what their logic and reasoning is based on. So
okay.
basically, are you saying
I
that
get you.
we
Like,
can allow people on the show to just say anything they want?
no, I'm not saying that.
Then I'm not
So
saying
let me
Tom is saying
rephrase that.
anything that's wrong or right. I'm saying if I'm asking for clarification, that's what this is about. I want to
Yeah,
know why Tom thinks the way he thinks, what logic and reasoning he's using. And what you're saying is y'all spending too long. I'm uninterested, and the conversation is not going anywhere. But if we get clarification from the conversation and somebody changes their way of thinking, is that not what we're here for?
yeah, I agree with that. I agree with what you said.
Oh,
That's why
okay.
I said
Tom, go ahead.
what part I want to agree. Wait, hold on. You just said that we're supposed to go back and forth and get clarification. Why are you moving on? So let me go ahead and
We're having a
You
debate
are
instead of a debate.
because you already said you agree, so we're on the same page. There's no
but I
debate
didn't
there.
tell you what I agreed with though. I was still talking in the middle of my sentence.
Preface your preface your agreement next time, then.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
so
I.e., I agree with this. Not I agree with that, and then but I don't like. Come on, man. Go ahead.
Fresh, do you mind restating the last thing that you said?
Oh, hold on real quick,
After
Tom.
the comments, though. After the comments, he
I'm
can
away for.
restate that. After the comments. Hey, do we have
I'm
to talk
just.
about this in front of guests? LOL. Help the bear says punching clubs. Darius. Intellectual. That's what we call it, intellectual phase. I don't consider that intellectual phase just to get some clarify some things that I said as far as what I said earlier, as far as not going anywhere. I can say that in a different way. Just try to move the conversation where it aligns with the topic. And if I think, like I said, by observing that, if it looks like it's going in a different direction, I got to will it back in so to get everybody involved. All right. So Mr. Watt
So
says,
real quick, we're talking about soul ties.
mhm,
Tom made a statement on soul ties. I asked
mhm.
Tom for clarification on his statement about soul ties. Yay or nay? That's not what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm starting to forget. Yeah, we gotta hurry.
All right. You say, yeah, and then ask the question.
Is that not what's happening? You asked a
Yeah,
question
yeah,
about
we're
soul
talking about that.
ties. Tom
Definitely.
gave his opinion on soul ties. I asked Tom for clarification on his opinion about soul ties. In what way is our conversation moving away from the initially stated topic?
Well, I guess I can't remember exactly what was said. I know that that's how y'all conversation started. But right now,
From
It's literally where it was
from
when you read a comment.
from
it was
his point of view, he's looking at it. He's looking at it from a video standpoint. He's like, hey, we got a schedule that we're trying to maintain, and so the
Yeah, so
the
he should say that. That's what I'm
the
saying. I
schedule.
understand why he
Yeah,
moved the conversation forward, but don't characterize it as if Tom and I are not talking about
no, I only
the topic. Just
characterized
saying,
that
hey, we need to
after.
move it forward.
Well, I only characterized that when you told me when I brought in the
When I
comments.
asked
People
for
are,
clarification.
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I'm saying that wasn't my reason for doing it initially.
Go ahead,
It
man.
was all right, Derek.
Go ahead, man.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you restate the last thing that you said, Freshly?
We can talk offline, Tom.
After
Okay.
the comments, now my PC gotta go. Hold on. Now it's gonna look like I'm right. Hold on. He fight back. He's still talking to Fresh. Did you hear the moderator? Most fight back Fresh. I want to see this really fighting, man. This is just.
Come on, man. I
Hold on.
already acquiesced. Go ahead and move the conversation forward. I give up. I acquiesce. I quit. So it's not a fight anymore.
Well, if I was a moderator, boy, my mute finger would just be like. I run this damn show. Like, what?
Yeah.
I'm out.
No,
And
this
look
has
at the comments. Look at the comments.
fight back Fresh. Pamela Smith said that testosterone is flying in the air. Mr. Watts, next topic. Yeah, because Fresh did that with Jordan, like how he carries on with conversation. You see, he's doing it now. That's why I let him talk, so the audience can see what's going on. All right,
Mr.
so
Watts, that was the last topic.
that was the last time. We didn't get everybody to speak on it. We still got Derek to talk about. We still got CQ and then Vulcan.
Mr. Watts,
you're done.
Mr. Watts commented. Next topic. I said that was the last topic. It's factually correct.
Oh, going off of Mr. Watts. Yeah, sure.
And see, you could see how it's interesting to see how people's mind works in this interaction. Like you could just see.
What's your observation?
Fresh, I think, is identified as an ENTP. Thinks about all the possibilities. He's analytical. He can analyze situations. He values people's opinions. Maybe not as much, but he does. And he's detailed. You could tell, and I could see where Enos and Fresh kind of conflict because Enos looks at it from a holistic point of view. Freshly's like, no, I'm talking about this point of view right here.
Don't you start with me, Mr. Watts.
With the purple shorts. Define deception. Does it all make? Oh, okay. I have a negative.
Mr. Watts, how you know what color shorts that man got on?
It's his shirt.
Yeah. Where is he?
That could be there. That's why he said next topic. And you was trying to get to that topic, huh, Mr. Watts? That's the real reason.
He's already lost that topic.
He's been talking about this topic for a week and a half.
we already gave him an L on that. We're not going back. We're not giving you a rematch.
Go back to that again. All right, so what about play the humility video?
Humility video.
Don't let this thing go, man. Oh man. Oh, that's wild. So yeah, what about the soul ties thing? Where we at on the soul ties? We got Capper Facts in the background. We bringing them in or what? But
Cap, you want to come on? What's up?
Hey, if y'all want to do a bonus and finish that, let's finish the soul ties. Y'all go into the humility thing if y'all want to go into it. I wasn't a part of that one, so y'all want to do that. Let's finish the humility, the soul tie one. Anybody got anything they want to say about that? Derek, CQ?
No.
So yeah, I'll just say because I want to address the comments going back to the sexual intimacy between a man and a woman is deeper than just physical. The physical act. God created it that way. I definitely agree that the copulation intimacy between a man and a woman is deeper than just the physical act. That's for sure. It's just the whole thing about using unbiblical terminology like soul ties. We use extra biblical terminology. The definitions are going to be nebulous. It's going to be hard to tie down to something that we can actually use that's useful, that produces a useful model of something. So we know what the Bible says about fornication, about adultery, what it says about what sexual immorality does. So those things are clear. But a soul tie, what is that saying? Is that saying that a guy could pay to interact in an intimate way with a person who's walking a stroll in a foreign city. He goes to Vegas, interacts with a lady on the stroll, comes back to his city in Timbuktu, and what soul tie is there for him? That's what I'd want to know. I mean, you know, is you know, he probably forgot he even did that. Now he picked up some type of STD. You want to say that's some kind of soul tie or something like that? Then okay, maybe we can have a conversation. But I just think we got to think about using extra biblical language to define things and try to make it spiritual. Is that there really is no definition for a soul tie, and the reason why that's important is because you'll have people standing in the pulpit, people preaching these messages saying, you know, a soul tie and this, and you're inviting spirits, and so you get this hyper mysticism that takes place around this topic because it's not grounded in biblical language. If we were talking about spiritual things, we want to speak and teach spiritual things. Why isn't the language of the Bible not good enough? We just use that. If you want to speak science, use the science. The bonding hormones, how it affects the psychology of people whenever they do certain acts. We can do that. We can have that conversation. But the issue with the soul tie thing is like, what is that rooted in? Where's that definition? And where is it in the scriptures? So going back to what you said about a man and woman becoming one, my question for y'all, if y'all have an opinion about this, is that at the marriage or at consummation? And do you need both? Do you need just one? Can you know if two people are married, but maybe the guy is paralyzed from his belly button down, but he gets married to a lady and they don't have any type of relations in that way. Are they one according to the Bible? Derek, Enos, what do y'all think?
I think, I'm sorry, you said Darius and Enos.
Sorry. I think they're one. I mean,
I would say so too.
God defines marriage, and Adam and Eve got married and they touched each other.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so we know that's one. Is if a guy goes and engages in intimate activity with a lady on the stroll and then comes back to his city, and he does all that, you know, while he's blacked out drunk and go back to his city on the next day, is he one with that lady that were over there in Vegas? Does the Bible teach they're one in that way?
Well, I was going to say, when you look at the Bible, you look at the Trinity, it kind of shows you the many different meanings things could have. So when they say become one, you know, it shows, I think it's multifaceted. You could become one as in have a baby. You could be one as in y'all have intimacy. And you could be one as y'all are equally yoked. You're one. Just like how God could take many different forms, so is the meaning. The Bible is often written, I can't explain it. It's more like there's this layer of complexity that mirrors in every meaning, in every word. It's like it's written for multiple people and it speaks to each person differently.
Yeah, I don't know about speaking to each person. I don't know what you mean by speaking to each person differently.
Like certain individuals will run into certain types of problems, and certain individuals might not even have those problems at all, just because based on how their minds work.
Yeah, I get the problem, but the speaking too. So let's say, for instance, I got 2 + 2 on my paper. Somebody has 2 + 2 on their paper. Are you saying that we can both have different answers and both be right still?
No, that wouldn't be really a good example.
Okay, so what would be a good example?
Think about how you have these different motivational speakers, just like how there's different passages in the Bible. Certain passages in the Bible you may not be able to relate to, but others speak.
Hold on, I don't know what do you mean by relate to?
Like they say, the truth might set you free. You know, you might be a person that values authenticity.
But I can value certain things. It doesn't mean what I value less than the thing that I value more, I can't relate to it.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, I've never been a millionaire that lived on the beach. But when I watch people that are millionaires live on the beach, I can relate to a lot of things they're doing. Oh wow, they enjoy the beach. I enjoy the beach. Oh, they like money. I like money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can still relate.
Yeah, I understand what you're
Now,
saying.
to what extent can I relate? Maybe
Yes.
more of the question, but your terms and how you're speaking is so vague and ambiguous. I'm really trying to get you to be more specific in when you're speaking, especially if you're going to be teaching. So I'm still trying to figure out what you mean is that it might speak different languages to different people.
Well, certain verses in the Bible speak to people, resonate with people more. Like people that value authenticity.
Okay, well, resonation. If you're talking about something resonating, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I was curious of what you meant by meaning. Were you saying the meanings could vary? That's what I was curious of.
Oh yeah, my bad. I don't. If I said that, that's not what
No,
I
you
meant.
didn't say that. Just you didn't. You were very.
I
It was very vague
specified.
what you said. So I was trying to get you more specific in the language because I didn't know if you were starting to broach the topic of relativism, or everybody has their own truth, or all roads lead to Rome. So that's what I was scared. That's what the society we live in now is an age of pluralism and relativism, where there are no such thing as right or wrong, and everything is subjective at the end of the day. And so, what's right for you might not be right for the next person, and blah 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 blah. And there's a place for that, a small place for that, but in the general, right is right, or wrong is wrong, or truth is truth, and a falsity is false.
And I agree. And I agree.
So we got Freshly back in the building. He's bad. He's bad. You know it. Normally he would have clowned me for my impressions, but he must not be there yet. So where are we at now? I think we were gonna. I don't know if Freshly and Enos want to finish duking it out, or are we done with that?
Oh yeah, hold on. I do gotta address something real quick. We skipped over it. We skipped over it. So Dr. A. Williams said, "What is there anything good?" I don't know if that's hold on. Let me go.
Oh back. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me read back exactly what she said. I don't want to get it wrong.
Shout out to Brandon Pitt. Say he locked in. What up, Brandon?
You want me to read it to you?
Yeah. If you can read it to me.
You seem to be criticizing detail-oriented people tonight. Is there anything positive about being detail-oriented?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're highly accurate. They have precision, quality work. They prevent problems from even happening. They're reliable and they're trustworthy. They have strong analytical skills. They're better at planning an organization and structure. They have very good memory. And I think people that have very good memory have very good knowledge retention. So those are all the positives. But
who hurt you? That was detail-oriented, not a
But of course, there's pros and cons to all traits. There's pros and cons to all traits.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely would second that. So, Dr. A, feel free to. So we caught up on the comments, Enos?
Yeah, hold on. Fresh back. That was other comments. I think that was all of them. Yeah.
You were whispering, just so you know. But go ahead.
Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
I think that's all
of
of
it's not that we can't hear you. Literally,
you ever heard you whispering?
Well, he was talking to himself right there. He was literally just saying something in the
Well, the mic is further. So is it a difference when it's when I'm it sound the same?
No,
right.
I thought you were talking to yourself.
You were whispering to yourself. It was a noticeably different volume. Not based on the mic orientation.
Yeah, that's all the comments.
Is it?
So we said we're caught up on this. We were locked in, all that. It's a detail-oriented person's thing because we caught up on all that stuff right there. So so we'll go ahead and close it out then. You want to do our closing comments?
Yeah, I can go ahead and close that. I can move it on. Let's get Derek and let's get to Tom and was it Freshly? That when it started off.
Who did you say started off?
Derek. Let's get Derek, Tom, and Fresh.
Okay. Hey, no, I had a good time. I have changed my mind about something that never really put it much stock in anyway with the soul ties. So thanks for a lot of the clarification on that. Uh, Falcon, I did want to say that there is a verse in the Bible where God says, "Don't sleep with the prostitute because you become one with her." And so, yeah, that is what it is. But great show again. Appreciate it. It's funny hearing people go at
It was fun.
it.
All right, what's up, Tom? Closing statements.
I just want to say thanks for having me out tonight. Thanks for Freshly, standing up there, standing up for what you have to say. I'm also glad to hear different perspectives. We got to. I wish I can go deeper into what people were saying. Their perspective. I'm really curious on, their experiences and things like that. And yeah, I apologize if I did misjudge Freshly. I thought I was sure. I was close, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, Freshly, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Uh, in reference to what Tom said about misjudging, I was not here for a lot of that. I was trying to get my technical difficulties situated, but I always appreciate any sort of good back and forth that has logic and reasoning. So I wasn't. I wouldn't characterize what I was doing as going that time. I actually was seeking clarification and a deeper understanding of what he was talking about because I don't like to respond based on my assumptions on what people mean. So that's why he and I were just having a conversation. I think he has an interesting thought process on things. And I was just trying to get a deeper understanding of it. But I always appreciate a good interaction, which I think this was. I would characterize it as such. So
All right, so yeah, that's what the show is about. Can y'all? I'm fine.
is it?
Noise. Yeah, so definitely enjoy the show. Definitely enjoyed the show, and definitely, like I said, some of the back and forths, and I guess just to give some um, deeper understanding when I'm moderating, is like I said, I want to clarify what I said instead of saying the conversation's not going nowhere. It's better to say if the conversation's not maybe stimulating for the audience, I have to take certain measures to you know make some adjustments in the conversation. I agree with Fresh. We get some clarification, but sometimes we got to move things on and get other people's perspectives on certain topics. So that's a good thing. Like I said, back and forth. Definitely looking forward to talking about this maybe again or in the future. And again, I'm great. I'm Enos, and that's all I have right now. Till next time.
All right, so I guess that's on me. Is that what's happening? So yeah,
Yes, sir.
thanks everybody for tuning into the show. Thank everybody who's involved, all the comments. We love the comments. We're gonna do as good of a job as we can in the future, making sure we read the comments and try to address the comments. Even if they're statements, try to address them, try to play with them a little bit. Sometimes with the flow of the conversation that we're already having, whatever topic we're on, we don't want to lose the momentum. But I still want everybody who takes out time of their day to write comments and ask questions and make jokes. I wanted to make sure that we give it its just due. And a lot of times, y'all's comments help to move the conversation forward or help us think in a different way and help everybody who's reading the comment think in a different way. So thank y'all for that. Broken Soapbox. Please like and subscribe and share with your friends. And we're out. Broken Soapbox out.
All right. Till next time.
Gang.